Hey, what's up guys, it's Chris&Alana. We're back with another video, 2 in 1 day as a matter of fact, which is why we're wearing the same outfits as we were in our nightly rewind.
If you have been watching our channel, you know that Camden had a seizure back in April. Oh, you want to do my thing? And we have been going through testing and all of that crap. So I wanted to make a video where we just kind of tell the whole story from start to finish. When she got diagnosed with epilepsy, the first place I went to look was on YouTube, and there weren't any videos. Like, there was only 4 videos maybe of actual real people, not doctors, talking about their actual experience. And I think that that's helpful, don't you?
Yeah. Camden is not super comfortable on camera, so she didn't want to be in the video, but
we can talk about it from our point of view,
yeah,
and a little bit about how she's feeling. And we would have had no idea that she had epilepsy until she had a big seizure. So without that big seizure, we still wouldn't know. And maybe...
Yeah, if you watch our vlogs,
yeah,
it happened on our cruise.
Yeah,
in the middle of the cruise.
Maybe if you're watching, you'll be like, oh my god, my kid does that too. Maybe I should have him checked out.
Yep.
Anyway, so we'll start from the very beginning.
The year was 2015, VidCon.
We went to VidCon in 2015. And when we were there, it was the very first night we were there. We were all excited, but we all were getting ready for bed because we had to be up early the next day. So while we were going to bed, Camden started crying, and she was like, oh, I can't go to sleep. My legs are moving. And we were annoyed, to be quite honest. And no judgment on this video, because this is the truth.
Yeah. Well, she tends to be very dramatic in every aspect of her life.
She was a 12-year-old little girl. Like, come on.
So, yeah, we didn't take it seriously, to be honest.
No, we were like, go to bed. You're just excited.
Mm-hmm.
You're being ridiculous. Like, let's go. So she calmed down. She went to sleep. Everything was fine. That didn't happen again, probably, for another few months. Mm-hmm. And then it would randomly...
A few months? It happened again later?
Yeah, like I would say like 6 months to a year later it happened again. But she was excited about something again, and we were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like when she has like news, like she'll scream at the top of her lungs and come like flying downstairs like you think someone has been murdered. And then she's like, Burger King brought back spicy chicken sandwiches. And so it's like, dude, like, you gotta calm down. Mm-hmm. So when she does, yeah, when she gets certain things, we kind of were like, that's just Camden.
Yeah, and so as long as we can remember, I don't even know the first time I saw this happen, but when she wakes up in the morning, her eyes would flutter. But we just thought that's how she woke up.
Yeah, she just always seemed kind of out of it, and so I'd be like, Camden, like, come on, you know, because I'm not a morning person either. So when I get up, it's like
you're groggy.
Yeah, I'm groggy. So we just always figured that's kind of what it was.
Never would have thought anything of it. Like, we always would tease her about it, but I never ever would have thought it was something wrong. So her eyes would always flutter, and then as time went on over the last 4 years, the jerking in her legs and arms have got worse. But again, I'm not there the second she wakes up, or when she's still laying in bed all the time, you know, like she'll come out of her room on her own. So I didn't ever really see what was happening. So we just started to call it glitching in our house, where she would wake up in the morning and her arms and her legs would kind of glitch or
I never knew or saw any of that. Like, that was never brought up. So, but in every aspect of her life, like 100%, she's not affected. So she... For, like, other than that first 2 minutes when she wakes up and she, like, her eyes flutter and she kind of does weird things when she wakes up, like, we had no... Plus, I had no idea that, like, that would even be in the realm of epilepsy.
No,
like,
you
or
would
a
never
seizure.
think,
Like, her eyes fluttering never... I just imagine, like, a fish that's out of water, like, you know, doing that.
Like what you think of a normal seizure.
Yeah, that's what...
Somebody on the ground
So
foaming.
If she never did anything close to that, I would never, ever think that she was having mini... like seizures, you know what I'm saying?
So all this time it's always been called glitching in our house, and she would wake up some mornings and be like, oh man, I glitched so bad this morning, but again, it was just we just thought that was how she woke up.
See, maybe because I work early, because like never once, before you guys started calling it glitching after the cruise, I'd never heard either one of you use the word glitch. So this was all news to me.
Yeah, so when one day, looking back, obviously, you know, you always see things differently after something
now
has
that
happened.
We know, yeah, it all makes sense.
So probably like 8 months ago, she went on a sleepover, and when I picked her up from the sleepover, she was like, "Oh my gosh, Mom," I think this was her first time sleeping over at this girl's house. She was like, "They said I was glitching so bad in the middle of the night, and that they were crying and they were so scared, and they had to wake up her mom and all this stuff." And I was like, oh, that's crazy. But again, I just thought, oh, you must have been glitching. She also has like slept walk before, so we were like, you're probably just, is that what you slept walk, sleepwalk? I don't know. She's done that before, so we thought maybe it was just like a combination of all of those things. And she was like, oh, my jaw hurts so bad though, and she was so tired, to the point where I remember us being like, man, did she drink? Like, that's really weird that she would be this tired and like out of it the next day.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
So anyways.
But again, she's a 16-year-old. Yeah. Like, she went to a sleepover and then all of a sudden she can't stay awake the next day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that's exactly what we thought. We would never think she must have had a seizure. We thought, oh, she must have been getting high or drinking with her friends. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And she also drank coffee that night, like late into the night. So whatever. And the mom of the girls that she slept over at never called me. So I feel like if something happened at my house, I would call the other parent and be like, just so you know, this happened. But I just, whatever, chalked it up to, you had a crazy night, that was it.
Mm-hmm. And these are like, we've said like 5 events, and you're like, well, shit, you guys didn't see it. But it was like 5 events over 5 years. Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
So, looking back now, I know that was a seizure that night at her house, but I would have never thought that up until this point. So then we go on the cruise.
So yeah, flash forward to the cruise.
We wake up in the morning to Camden having like, you know, a full-blown seizure. And I know we've told that story before, but it was just what you would expect in a seizure.
Yeah.
So, obviously, as soon as we came home from the cruise, we took her to the doctor, who then referred her to a neurologist, and we got the ball going on that. So, within 2 minutes of going into the neurologist appointment, he asked me what was going on. I gave my spiel for 1 minute, and he goes, I already know what she has.
Yeah.
And he was right. So, that day we left there, like, shocked, I think, and a little bit overwhelmed with information. Yeah. I'm not in a million years would I have thought that she had epilepsy or would have epilepsy. Mm-hmm. Like, I even thought up until that point that we would go there and they would be like, this is just normal. It's fine. Like, it's okay. And that was not the case at all. So, she did testing. First up, she did an MRI, and that was just, I think later on we learned that that's just kind of like to rule out anything else that doesn't really diagnose epilepsy at all. So everything came back fine on that, and then she did the EEG, which was totally crazy. So, the morning of the EEG, she had to wake up at 4 a.m. So
sleep deprived too, right?
Let me pause this really quick. Rewind a week before this happened. It was the 4th of July weekend, and like I said before, we never really see Camden like wake up in the morning because she's in her own room and whatever. So on that weekend, I was up north with her, and when I woke her up to leave in the morning, I was like blown away by her, like watching her do these jerks. Like, I had no idea how bad it was.
Yeah.
And it was insane. Like,
think about how
it was crazy.
A 16-year-old kid, you don't see them very much at all. So, and you're definitely not going to be there when they wake up. So it's like she has her own life now with her own friends and her own room. So it's, like we never would have, had she not had that seizure on the cruise, like we never would have known any of this.
Yeah,
like,
no. So it was crazy though to actually see what she does and how she does it. And I swear that morning I was like, okay, like, I know that something's going to happen. I know that she's going to have, like, a diagnosis. Like, so let's find out all we can find out now. So I went home and just started researching like crazy. And I do have a video of it. I don't know if she'll let me put it in. But if she does, I'll put it in so you can see
what it looks like.
What hers look like, yeah. So,
and honestly, it's kind of like what you would imagine, except for she's awake and all of a sudden she'll be like this and she's like that. And it's like her arms, like, flail. And then
it almost looks like Tourette's in a way.
Kind of, yeah. It's like her, like, arm Tourette's. It's like she can't control it. It's like, and yeah, it was really, when I saw the video, it was shocking.
Yeah, seeing it puts it into perspective for you. So, the morning of the EEG...
Which she never did. Back when her eyes used to flutter, she never had, like, that jerking thing. It was just, she would be like this.
Yeah.
And it was like she was waking up. That's what it seemed like, anyway. But...
So the morning of the EEG, she had to wake up really early. I did record her then, and that one was bad. But it was just crazy. So when you go in there, they have you lay down and they tuck you in all nice and cozy because they want you to take a nap. And they did some testing before she fell asleep. So they strobe lighted her, which we never knew that she was photosensitive. And we quickly found out that she was, because she did have a seizure during the strobe lights. And so that was crazy and really interesting. But she wasn't ever... She was a little bit freaked out when she had a seizure from the strobe lights. But it was also really educational and really interesting. And the lady showed us all of the results from the EEG, and we could see what her brain was doing during those moments. And so we both left there not really scared or upset. It was just like, wow, that's so interesting and so cool, and freaking technology. Like, they can just, like, look at your brain, and it's so crazy. So
and hers has always been sleep related. When she doesn't get sleep is when she has, like, the most, like, the eye flutters and things like that. And then the lights, which we never knew, because she goes to concerts, like, she's been around, she loves haunted houses, like, with strobe lights, and nothing has ever, like, happened. So when I hear,
we know of, though, that's
but
the
she's
thing.
never, like, here's the thing, when I thought of someone that's epileptic and has seizures, like, whenever you watch TV and they're like, this has, like, flashing lights, you may want to look away if you have epilepsy. So she goes to haunted houses with strobe lights. She's never had a seizure in the 16 years of her life. So it's like, never would it have ever crossed my mind that she would be epileptic until she had the seizure on the cruise ship.
Well, we've learned now, like, there's different types of seizures, which I didn't know at the time. So her most common seizures are the myoclonic seizures, which are the little, like, jerks. So... but what I meant is that we know of is, like, we don't know if during a haunted house if she had a jerk and just didn't tell us, and maybe she didn't recognize it either, because when she was when they did the strobe lights on her, she didn't go into a full-on seizure, but she started jerking, which can lead into a big seizure. But those seem to be her most common seizures, are the myoclonic ones. So with epilepsy, there are triggers, like you were saying. So her biggest trigger is sleep. And obviously now we know strobe lights is one of them, but the biggest one seems to be sleep and, like, excitement. So when she's excited or when she's super stressed out about things, that's when she'll jerk more. But yeah, so after the EEG, 2 days later, we went to the doctor. He confirmed that all of the testing came back and showed that she has juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. And we just kind of created a plan from there. So he put her on, what is it called?
I don't know what it's called.
Lamictal. Yeah, so he put her on Lamictal, which he told us that it can have, like, a deadly rash that you can get from it.
No, I mean, it's all like with all medication. He said, like, 1% of people can develop a rash that's, like, life-threatening, which is scary, but it's like... It was either that or another type of medication, or not medicating at all. But
we decided to medicate. A lot of people questioned whether you should medicate a child and yada yada yada, but I don't know enough to not medicate her.
The doctor recommended medication, and I hate to be this guy, but Susie from down the street, you're not as smart as a doctor, so I go with the doctor's opinion over the Facebook comments. And
ultimately, our goal is that she drives. Like, we want her to have a normal life. So right now, it doesn't, like, driving is not in her future anytime soon.
Yeah, so now we have to pick her up from school and then take her to school.
Which is fine. I mean, we are her parents, and that's what we'll do. But
you never realize.
Yeah, you don't realize
how, because once a kid turns 16, we're like, oh yeah, they're out of the house. Like, and now it's like,
yeah,
we have to drive her
She has
everywhere.
a busier social life than we do, so. Yeah. But we want her to be able to drive, and without medicine, that's really not an option for her, because at the end she was glitching, 7 days a week.
Plus, what 16-year-old doesn't want to drive? Like, that was one of the most upsetting things to her.
Yeah, so we decided to go the medication route. We've started out very, very slow, and she moves up every single week until the end of the year when she should be on her full dosage. So right now, right away, we already started seeing improvement. So she's been glitching now, like maybe once every 5 days, twice every 5 days kind of thing. So, which is great because she was doing it every single day. So we've already seen improvement. I would say that there are side effects, but I don't know. It's hard to tell when you have a teenager what is a side effect and what's just
moodiness,
a teenage bad mood. So I think I would say her mood seems to be a little bit worse, maybe a little bit more moody, like happy one day, sad the next kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Which I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah.
Maybe we should give her a little bit of a break on that.
Yeah, so there's that. There's what else have we noticed? She says she gets headaches from it. So I don't know. There's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're all learning to deal with it together. So never ever in a million years did I think that she would have this or end up with this. And our doctor told us that it just happens in perfectly healthy 12-year-olds. Like that's usually when it starts, and for her it was exactly 12 years old. So that's our story. That's her story. That's our story. She somehow is the most faithful person in the world and has really leaned on her faith through all of this. And no doubt she has bad days. Sometimes she's like, not that she ever is like, why me? But she's like, man, this sucks. Like, I hate that I can't stay up late. I hate that I can't do this, and this. And then,
like, she had she is, like, I don't know, she pretty much went the opposite of everything that we've done in life. So, like, she doesn't, like, she, like, never was one of those kids that wants to go to a party and drink.
Yeah.
But now that, like, the doctor told her, like, alcohol can be a trigger, she's like, well, like, I can never even try, like, alcohol. Like, she doesn't want to, but when you turn 21, you want to go to a bar and, like, have a beer just to say that you did it. And, like, she can't do that. So I think those are the things that are most upsetting to her. She can't drive like every other 16-year-old. The doctor told her, it's best not to drink, which, everybody wants to go to college and do a keg stand,
Yeah. So I think her mood has been good. We've all joined, well, not we all, but I have, and she has joined some support groups on Facebook, which is another thing I wanted to say, is that the support in the epilepsy community is like, never in a million years did I think that like, everybody is so nice. Like, oh my gosh, everybody is so nice. Like, the instant we joined the group and said, like, oh, my kid has epilepsy, it was 900 messages and comments and, like, people giving you resources and advice, and, like, everybody is so nice. And so I know she's joined some of her own groups where she's met other people who have the same thing that she does and have similar stories. It seems like everybody's story is a little bit different. It's not like a black and white thing. Like, everybody has a little bit of a different story. So there's no telling how things are going to end up. Some people react great to certain medicine, and some people have the complete opposite. So that's a little bit challenging because you just don't know. I would say overall it seems like most people with juvenile myoclonic epilepsy who are medicated and on good medications seem to get to drive maybe around 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that will be the case, but we'll see. We're all learning. We've got baby monitors in our room now, so we sleep with those on just in case. We have been slipping a little bit though, because now that she's medicated, we just think nothing's gonna happen and it's fine, which we probably should not have that mindset, because things can still happen. And as she gets used to the medication, it seems like she'll kind of glitch a little bit more. So we should be.
Well, thank God you're a light sleeper, because I didn't even know that we had a baby monitor on at any point, and I never would have woke up during that seizure on the cruise ship had you not woke me up. Would have slept right through it.
Yeah. And what else? Oh, we ordered her. She has an epilepsy bracelet now, which I think she's a little bit embarrassed about, but I think.
What is that? Just to let people know if something happens that she's epileptic?
Yeah. So I think those are all things. I think that's her biggest thing, is that it's embarrassing. When she was at, like, having sleepovers and stuff, and when she went to camp, I know she was really embarrassed about her jerking, which I totally understand.
Oh yeah, dude.
But But yeah, that's it. I think that's her story. That's where we are right now. The medicine seems to be good. We love her doctor. And we go back in October for a follow-up, and that's it.
So if your kid does that, they may be epileptics. No, but honestly, yeah, we just hope that, I mean, even if it helps, I know it's cliche, but even if it helps one person.
Yeah. And just to hear somebody else's story, like, you have to, that was, like I said, that was the first place I went was YouTube, and I wanted to hear what other kids that had this same thing were saying. And there were only like 3 of them, so. Well,
on Facebook, I know, it was like, she was so upset, and then it was super comforting, like, because she saw, like, so many kids that had every single thing that happened to her, and they're like, but I'm 25 now, and I live a completely normal life. I drive. So, like, that really helped her to hear that people... our battery died. We're back.
Yes.
I don't know where we left off, but what I was saying is that as soon as she went on Facebook in those groups and saw that, like, she talked to, like, 6 people that they're, like, had all the same signs that she had, and they're like, I'm 25 now and I live a completely normal life. That was super comforting to her, to see that you can live a normal life with epilepsy.
So, moral of the story, maybe listen to your kids a little bit more.
Yeah, when they tell you that they're, you know, they've got some stuff going on. They're not always dramatic. A lot of times they are, but not always.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I just wish if we would have paid attention sooner or listened, and I don't know, we would have been 4 years ahead of this process.
Yeah.
You know, which would be awesome. But we're here now. We're making the best of it. And that's it. So I hope we didn't leave anything out. If so, feel free to leave questions in the comments. And we'll probably film an update, or we'll include it in our rewinds of how things are going and all of that. But thank you guys for watching. I don't know if we should end it with a like, comment, subscribe.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time we have a little bit of post.